Hey guys, Magento's back here to the game with another Future Cup Buddyfight deck profile. But this time, this very deck profile is gonna be on a really old deck. So by old, I mean all the way back to BT03, when Buddyfight was a relatively new game. So that's right, it's everyone's favorite Thunder Knights deck. So Thunder Knights has been around for a really long time. Last time they topped the championships, if I got it correctly. But of course, last time it was so meta, it costed like $200 for a full build deck. But this time I got myself a Thunder Knights deck. Yeah, so let's get on to the deck profile. Okay, so Flag and Buddy. Buddy is Thunder Knights Halberd Dragon, size 2 monster, 6k power, 6k defense, 2 crits and move. Sweet SP boys. And also shout out to Cardfight Fun, that's his Carousel username, for letting me have these Thunder Knights cards. Of course I paid for those, but prices are really good. So if you're interested in buying any cards, you could check him out, or you can check myself out at Carousel. Yeah, that's it. So let's go to the size 3s. One copy of Inverse Second Omni Demon Lord, Death Asmodai. So size 3 monster, pay 2 gauge. When this card is destroyed, put the top 3 cards of your deck into your drop zone. Call up to 3 monsters from among them on separate areas without paying the call cost. Penetrate Lifelink 2. And 50k power, basically you can kill anything in the game, and 10k defense, that's pretty good, and 3 crits. So Death Asmodai, it's pretty good. Basically you can use it as a budget Thunder Formation second part. Well, you'll see when I get into Thunder Formation itself. So basically, even if you do not have a hand, this card allows you to have a board still. Like, if this is the last card in your hand, you play him, and after he dies, you probably get 1 or 2 monsters still. Yeah, so 1 copy of Death Asmodai, because that's all you are allowed to play, because he's an Inverse Omni Lord. So moving on to the monsters of our main decks, the backbone of the deck, the Thunder Knights itself. So moving on, 4 copies of our buddy monster Halberd Dragon, size 2 monster, 6k power, 6k defense. That's really good. For 6k defense, it's kind of like a magic number in Buddyfight. And pay 1 gauge for move. Yeah, Armored Dragon, Red Dragon. Triple rare in Character Pack 01, Burning Valor. Used to be really expensive card, like $15 for 1 copy. But of course, Thunder Knight's pretty weak now, I think. Well, whatever, man. Still like them, they're really cool and they're really shiny. So, 4 copies of another triple rare from BT03. Thunder Knight's leader, Commander Fan. I'm sorry if I couldn't say it properly, but basically it means flag. Commander flag. Yeah. Call cost, pay 1 gauge. All cards with Thunder Knights on your field gets 1 crit, including itself, and move, and also including itself. Basically, this guy is a 5k power, 3 criticals, and 5k defense with move for pay 1 gauge. That's really high value card, especially since you can buff the other Thunder Knights on your field. Yeah, 4 copies of that. That's a really strong card. As for Drum, we only run 2 copies of Thunder Knights Drum Bunker Dragon, because pay 1 gauge and you may put a Thunder Knights in its card name from your hand into its soul. That's really bad. You don't want to waste your hand on a monster. And 5k power, 2 crits, 4k defense. That's really pretty low compared to the other 2 size 2s that we have. And of course, Penetrate is not really important. Yeah. I mean, yeah, just 2 copies is enough. We can use the space for other things. Yeah. Moving on, 2 copies of Thunder Knights Broadsword Dragon, Armor Knight Ogre that cannot be called to the center. And of course, he's really good because since he cannot be called to the center, but he can move to the center, so it works well with Commander Fan. So he ends up being a 3 crit with move. that's able to move to your center to protect you. So pretty good, just 2 copies. Okay, moving on. More 2 copies. 2 copies of Thunder Knight Silver Chain Dragon, Armor Dragon, Blue Dragon. So if you have another Thunder Knight and its card name on your field, this card gets moved. Act Thunderistic Chain. You may pay 1 gauge if you do Thunderistic Chain. You may pay 1 gauge if you do choose a card on the field and give it minus 3k defense. Stats are okay, I guess. It's pretty trash if you ask me. But you can use it to minus defense, so pretty good. 2 copies is enough because we do not want so many of those poor stats monsters in our deck. Moving on, 2 copies of Sword Bunker Dragon. Pay 1 gauge, and if you have another Thunder Knights, this card gets Penetrate. Pay 1 gauge for normal stats, basically. Pay 1 gauge for the conditional Penetrate. And lastly, also a staple in all Thunder Knights deck. Last time probably like $3 to $4 per copy. Yeah, Thunder Knight's Drago Archer. When this enters the field, if you have another Thunder Knights on the field, you draw a card. So consistent. Basically, it's a free card. Yeah. And lastly, 2 copies of Thunder Knights. What's his name? Hardy Knife Dragon. Pay 1 gauge. If you have another Thunder Knights on your field, this card gets moved during your opponent's turn. When this card moves, draw a card. So, I mean, decent stats for size 0. But of course, when this card moves, it gives you pluses. So, if you can keep it alive, then great. You can, of course, keep getting pluses. I'll take a sip of water. Alright, next, moving on to the spells. So of course, Thunder Knights being infamous for their unlimited gauge gaining. So we run gauge heavy spells. 2 copies of Dragonic Survive. Pay 2 gauge, destroy a monster on the field with 6k or less power. 2 gauge? Nothing, man. Thunder Knights? Oh man. 2 copies, you can get rid of pesky monsters with 6k or less power. Probably, I don't know, Jackknife? Just 2 copies of that, because any more would just get too much gauge issues with the deck. 2 copies of Drago Guts. You take 1 damage, gain 3 life. So basically, counter life gain. So counter life gain is really good, allows you to survive any impacts, probably. But the main thing is you get to surprise your opponent. Yeah, and of course it's recovery, because this deck doesn't have really good sustain. Basically, if you get really bad luck and you don't draw your move monsters and your protection spells, well, that's it for you. Next, 2 copies of Dragon Chase. Destroy an item or spell on your opponent's field. You may only cast this when you are dealt damage. So you can kind of combo it with Drago Guts. You cast this to gain life, and of course, cast this to destroy an item or spell. So 2 copies of those. All 2 copies is enough at 2. Run 2 is enough. So 2 copies of Wrath of Dragon. You choose an Armor Dragon in battle, and for this battle, give it 6k power, 6k defense. Basically, you can protect your dragons. So just 2 copies, because we run the next card, 4 copies of Dragon Barrier. For this turn, the next time a size 2 or greater monster on your field would be destroyed, that monster remains on the field. Wow. Yeah, 4 copies of this. Basically, it works with any of the size 2s, Halberd Dragon or Commander Fan. Even a size 3 Death Asmodai. Yeah, so it's pretty good. Okay, 4 copies of this. Basically, it's much better than Wrath of Dragon, because you can just stop it from being destroyed completely instead of just increasing its power. So increasing its power allows for counterplay, like they can increase their power as well. So for the shields, 4 copies of Blue Dragon Shield for the gauge increase, of course, and 4 copies of Green Dragon Shield for the life gain. And of course, both of these are just straight up nullifies, so that's good enough. And lastly, for the spells, 4 copies of Thunder Formation. Set spell for Thunder Knights. So the key component. There's 2 key components. So if your monster with Thunder Knight's move during your opponent's turn, put a top card of your deck into your gauge. So this is where Thunder Knight's unlimited gauge comes from. Basically, you get 2 gauge a turn during your opponent's turn, of course. So yeah, and the second part, basically pay 4 gauge and you reveal top 3 cards of your deck and call 3 cards with Thunder Knights, and yeah, you get another attack phase. So it's kind of like your impact card. Sorry, I had to close the door for a moment. Yeah, pretty good. 4 gauge for an basically set spell that acts as an impact card. So we're only running 2 impact cards. Yeah, just 4 copies of this. It's good enough. And for the items, we run the really common items: 2 copies of Drago Square, 5/2 weapon, and 4 copies of 5th Omni Dragon Fist Roaring Flame. Equip cost, pay 1 gauge. All Armor Dragon on your field gets 1k power, 1k defense, and the defense is key because all your monsters have moves, most of them at least. So when they move into your center, you do not want them to be destroyed without putting out a hard fight. Yeah, so basically Halberd becomes 7k power and 7k defense. That's really good. That's like you can kill Yamigeto with it. Yeah, so that's it. That's the items. And lastly, for the impacts, 2 copies of Gargantua Punisher, 1 SP from BT01 with Tasuku art, and the other one is the promo Tasuku art. Pay 4 gauge, deal 4 damage. This damage cannot be nullified. This card cannot be nullified and the damage cannot be reduced. Well, you know, Gargantua Punisher, your win condition apart from Thunder Knight formation. Yeah, so that's about it. So hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Well, it sounded wrong. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below to show me some support. If you're new to my channel, subscribe if you'd like to see more Buddyfight deck profiles, card reviews, and product openings. So yeah, also the next video will be on my Black Knight's Kratos deck. So stay tuned. See you in the next video. Goodbye.